She dumped me.
Breakups are never easy. They make you depressed, they make you feel hopeless, and they make you feel just... yeah. And this episode of Bob's Burgers, titled V for Valentine Detta, dives deep into the emotional roller coaster of heartbreak, revenge, and ultimately the art of letting go. Through Tina's heartbreaks to cheer her up, and Bob and Jean's unexpected trapeze lesson, this episode highlights some pretty important life lessons. The heartbreak. The episode opens up with the Belcher kids getting off of school and Tina walking out just distraught and sluggish. Luis and Jean don't know the real reason why Tina is like this, but they're kinda embarrassed by the way she's acting, so they let her walk in front of them. Back at the restaurant, Bob and Linda are talking to Teddy about how they're gonna spend their Valentine's Day. Teddy says he's just gonna watch some Law and Order, and Linda says that she and Bob bought Groupons on a site called Kissing Coupons. And Bob spoils the surprise of his limo ride to Linda.
Yeah, I got us a limo ride.
Bob, it was supposed to be a surprise.
But Linda doesn't tell Bob what she got him because, well, she knows how to play the game of surprises. But then Tina and the rest of the Belcher kids walk inside the restaurant and Tina is still groaning, feeling down, and just slamming her head, making a scene inside the restaurant. Luis then makes some calls to figure out what happened to Tina and broke the news to the rest of the family.
Okay, everyone. I made some calls. Found out what happened.
What is it?
Basically, Jimmy Jr. is hanging out with this girl Becky, and Tina's afraid that he won't be her Valentine. And when Luis mentions Valentine, Tina just groans even louder.
Valentine's Day.
Basically not wanting to even think about it. Now, breakups often bring out a mix of emotions, from sadness to anger to confusion. The show captures this beautifully through Tina's refusal to speak. It contrasts to her usual awkwardness. While her silence is played for laughs, it's also a reminder that it's okay to sit with your emotions. Suppressing them can lead to even greater distress later on. However, as the episode progresses, we see how important it is to not dwell in this phase for too long. So Linda tells everyone to put Tina to bed and that all will be better in the morning. But come to find out, Tina is even worse shape than she was the day before, and it was all because of this.
This morning, Zeke texted Tammy, who texted Jocelyn, who accidentally texted me, even though she meant to text her cousin Tina, who lives in Clearwater, Florida, that Jimmy did ask Becky to be his Valentine, and she said yes, and they're going on a date tonight. It's Valentine's Day, and my life is over.
Yikes, you gotta feel for Tina. Having the biggest crush on someone and thinking that they like you back just to get stabbed in the heart like this, I think we've all been there before. Anyways, 8 hours go by and Tina is still feeling a bit more depressed. Although she is talking now, and I think she just kind of accepts the fact that it's over.
And I can go out for Valentine's Day?
Linda, don't say Valentine's Day.
Sorry. I meant regular February day. That means nothing. Stupid February day.
Well, I guess she still freaks out over the Valentine's Day stuff. But seeing Tina's despair and the bright pink limousine in the front, Linda decides to abandon her plans with Bob and organizes a girls' night out with Tina and Luis. Linda then says that Bob and Jean should go to the Groupon that she bought, but Bob doesn't want no part of it and just wants to stay home. But Linda already bought it, so Bob and Jean decide they'll go. And you'll be surprised what it is when you see it. But while Tina initially resists this spectacular plan that her mom has in mind, Linda and Luis's enthusiasm is impossible to ignore, so she just unenthusiastically agrees with them. They whisk her away in a limo driven by Nat, their eccentric and over-optimistic driver, and Nat suggests that they go run Jimmy Jr. over, and obviously Luis agrees, but Linda has a different plan in mind to make Tina feel better, and that's a makeover. You see, breakups can make people want to isolate themselves, but as this scene shows, sometimes a little forced fun can do wonders. Linda's insistence on cheering Tina up, even if it means dragging her out of the house, highlights the importance of surrounding yourself with loved ones. The limo ride is filled with humorous banter, Luis's mischievous suggestions, and Nat's outlandish stories. While Tina doesn't immediately cheer up, the camaraderie begins to chip away at her sadness. But we'll get more into that later. Right now, Bob and Jean are showing up to this Groupon Linda bought, and they're surprised to find out that it's a couple's trapeze lesson.
Oh, God.
And what Jean says next is pretty hilarious.
Just to warn you, I ate the perfectly wrong things for this activity.
This subplot might seem unrelated to the main storyline, but it's a brilliant metaphor that we'll reveal later. Bob, not wanting any part of this trapeze lesson at all, tries to see if he could get out of it by saying Gina's too young.
I'm here with my son because, well, it's a long story, but he's only 11. Can we still do this? It's totally okay if the answer is no.
But the instructors assured him that he will be able to do it and made sure to tell Bob that children under 10 are not allowed, which Bob says to Gene that he's just a year off. But Gene seems excited to do this acrobatic stunt with his dad, so all's well. But going back to Tina, Linda's next attempt to lift her spirits involves a makeover. They visit a salon where Tina reluctantly gets a new hairstyle and tries on makeup. However, the makeover doesn't have the desired effect. Tina feels just as heartbroken as she was before, leading Linda to question her approach. You see, the makeover scene highlights a common mistake, trying to mask emotional pain with external changes. While a new look can boost confidence, it's not a substitute for addressing the root of the pain. Tina's lack of enthusiasm after the makeover is a reminder that true healing comes from within. So Nat, ever the wild card, suggests a different approach, sabotaging Jimmy Jr.'s date with Becky. Linda disagrees with Nat and decides to go do other fun stuff with Tina to cheer her up, like going to that place, and going to a fountain, and going to a beach too. But they end up at this fancy tiramisu place where they couldn't find a seat, but luckily Nat came in clutch and got a table for them on Valentine's Day, saying that she knows the owner. Now, going back to Bob and Gene quickly, they fumble through trapeze techniques. The physical comedy is honestly hilarious, but they finally let the both of them go on the big trapeze platform, and although they were doing good at first, when they finally lock in hands, they refuse to let go of each other because of their fear of falling.
I think we're gonna need a minute.
And we'll get back to that in a second. Next, Nat suggests the group goes full Godfather mode on Jimmy Jr. and suggests to put a dead horse inside of Jimmy Jr.'s backpack. So that way when he tries to go get his homework, he'll be in for a surprise. After this, Tina reveals the real reason she is upset at Jimmy Jr.
It's not just that we're off right now, or even that he has another Valentine. I made him a special picture frame for Valentine's Day with a picture of us in it, but then he hung it in his locker with a picture of Becky in it.
Hey, what?
That son of a bitch.
So then Linda finally gives in and says that they're going to go ruin Jimmy Jr.'s date with Becky. And so they get back into the limousine and start to planning. First, they need to find out where Jimmy Jr. is, but unfortunately, Tina never placed a tracking device on him, so Louise goes for plan B. She calls up Tammy and figures out that Becky hasn't left for her date yet. And since Tina is a borderline stalker, she knows Becky's full address and what kind of flamingo is in her front lawn.
7124 Forest Lane, blue house with a little flamingo on the lawn.
Wow, stock much?
Yes, like a lot.
So she's basically, she's definitely a stalker. While the group is doing that, Bob and Gene are still debating about letting go. They're both still scared, but Bob reassures Gene that they will be okay and that both of them will be letting go at the same time. So Gene agrees and they decide to go on the count of 3.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You didn't let go!
I know!
Are you kidding me?
Well, I think they're gonna be there for a while. Anyways, the girls pull up to Becky's house right as Jimmy Jr. is picking her up for her date. But then they pull up to the restaurant and Tina's upset and sad at the fact that they're having heart-shaped enchiladas, which sounds pretty good right now. They quickly make their way through the back of the restaurant and into the bathroom where they decide that they're going to ruin this date with a stink bomb. However, as Tina watches the couple from afar, she has a moment of clarity. Tina realizes that Becky isn't to blame for her heartbreak, and that seeking revenge won't make her feel better. You see, Tina's decision to abandon her plan and instead apologize to Becky is a powerful moment. It shows maturity and self-awareness, emphasizing that revenge often perpetuates negativity rather than resolving it. By choosing compassion over spite, Tina takes an important step toward healing. But then things took a turn and Jimmy Jr. actually breaks up with Becky on the spot, leaving her heartbroken too. What a guy. But Linda and Louise quickly notice this and decides to drop stink bombs right next to Jimmy Jr.
Oh my god, did he just break up with Becky too? That little...
Valentor.
Time for a stink bomb from a hot mom!
Wait, give me one, woman.
Tina, woof me out. Woof me out.
All the while, Tina runs away with Becky to safety, and as they're leaving, Jimmy Jr. asks Tina to stay and that he'll date her instead, which is just trashed by Jimmy Jr., by the way. Just absolute crazy activity, man. Do better, Jimmy. In the end, Tina joins her family and Becky for a girls' night out, leaving Jimmy Jr. behind. This shift in focus from external circumstances to internal happiness is a crucial lesson. Breakups can feel all-consuming, but redirecting energy towards self-improvement and loved ones can pave the way for recovery. But that leaves us with Bob and Gene. Why was their part in the episode so important? Well, after an hour of waiting on the trapeze thing, the instructors finally threaten Bob to charge him with a second trapeze lesson if he doesn't let go. And Gene gives him some words of encouragement as well. And so then, Bob just lets go.
I'm trying, Gene. Ah!
Just as Bob struggles to release the trapeze bar, letting go emotionally can be challenging. It's not something that happens overnight. It requires effort, patience, and sometimes a little push from those around you. Gene's encouragement and Bob's eventual success serve as a reminder that moving on is a process, and one that's often messy but ultimately rewarding. The act of letting go, both physically and emotionally, is liberating. Bob's triumph serves as a metaphor for the relief and freedom that comes with releasing attachment. Whether it's a relationship, a grudge, or an expectation, letting go creates space for new opportunities and experiences. The creator's decision to parallel Tina's emotional journey with Bob and Gene's physical one is no coincidence. It's a reminder that moving on isn't just about forgetting the past, it's about embracing the future with open arms. V for Valentindetta is a standout episode of Bob's Burgers that balances humor with heartfelt lessons. Through Tina's heartbreak, Linda's relentless support, and Bob and Gene's trapeze antics, the episode explores the complexities of breakups and the importance of letting go. From the initial despair to the eventual liberation, the episode reminds us that healing is a journey, one that's best navigated with the help of loved ones, a healthy dose of humor, and a willingness to grow. So whether you're swinging on a trapeze or navigating the ups and downs of a breakup, remember, sometimes you just have to let go. And if you want to let go right now, you can click this video right here.